She sat on the same subway platform every day, same spot, same corner, for 35 years. The woman was in her late 60s, with graying hair matted from years on the streets, and eyes that seemed to look through people rather than at them. She wore layers of tattered clothing, carried everything she owned in 2 shopping bags, and spoke to herself in whispers. Most people walked past without seeing her. Just another homeless person in Manhattan. Invisible. Her name was Sarah. At least, that's what she told people, but she never gave a last name. Never told anyone where she came from. Never explained why she was there. She would sit for hours, sometimes days, muttering the same words. "I'm waiting. He's coming home soon. I just need to wait." No one knew who she was waiting for. No one knew that 45 years ago, Sarah had been someone else entirely. And no one knew that her story would break the hearts of millions. Jessica Chen was 29 years old, a corporate attorney in Manhattan, and she passed Sarah every single morning on her way to work. For 3 years, she'd walked by without stopping, just like everyone else. But one morning in November 2018, something changed. Jessica had just lost a major case. Her client, an elderly woman, had been evicted from her apartment after 50 years. Jessica had failed to save her. The woman had nowhere to go. That morning, walking past Sarah, Jessica stopped, really looked at her for the first time. "Excuse me," Jessica said softly. Can I buy you a coffee?" Sarah looked up, startled. Her eyes, pale blue, clouded with age and confusion, focused slowly on Jessica's face. "Coffee?" Sarah repeated, as if the word was foreign. "Yes, it's cold. Would you like one?" Sarah stared for a long moment, then quietly. "He used to bring me coffee, every morning, before he left." Jessica didn't know what that meant, but she brought 2 coffees and sat down beside Sarah on the platform. They didn't speak much that first day, but Jessica came back the next morning, and the next. Over the following weeks, a routine formed. Coffee, brief conversations. Slowly, carefully, Jessica built trust. Sarah spoke in fragments, disjointed memories. "I was married once, young. He was handsome. Army captain, deployed, never came home." "When was this?" Jessica asked gently. "Long time ago. 1972. Or 73. I don't remember. I'm waiting. He said he'd come home." Jessica's heart broke. This woman had been waiting for a man who died nearly 50 years ago. A man she couldn't let go of. "What was his name?" Jessica asked. Sarah looked down at her left hand. On her ring finger, barely visible beneath layers of dirt, was a gold wedding band. Thin, worn, but there. She twisted it slowly. "Captain J. Miller," she whispered. "That's what they called him, Captain Miller, but I called him James." That night, Jessica couldn't stop thinking about it. Captain J. Miller, Vietnam era, 1972 to 73. She searched military databases, hundreds of Millers who died in Vietnam. But one caught her attention. Captain James Robert Miller, U.S. Army. Killed in action, March 15, 1973. Awarded the Medal of Honor, posthumously. Jessica clicked on the citation, read it with growing disbelief. "For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity, at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty." Captain Miller's platoon came under intense enemy fire in the Quang Tri province. When his men became pinned down, Captain Miller single-handedly assaulted 3 enemy machine gun positions, allowing his platoon to withdraw. Despite being gravely wounded, he provided covering fire until all 40 men under his command had reached safety. Captain Miller died from his wounds. His extraordinary heroism and selflessness saved the lives of his entire platoon. 40 men. He'd saved 40 men before he died. Jessica scrolled further, found a photograph. Young man in dress uniform, maybe 28 years old. Kind eyes, gentle smile. Below the photo, survived by his wife, Sarah Elizabeth Miller, and 2 children, Jennifer, age 5, and Michael, age 3. Jessica's breath caught. 2 children. Sarah had children? She searched for Sarah Miller. Found a missing person report from 1985. Sarah Elizabeth Miller, age 37, disappeared from Bellevue Hospital Psychiatric Ward. Suffering from severe PTSD and depression following husband's death in Vietnam War. Left hospital grounds, never returned. Presumed deceased after 10 years. Declared legally dead, 1995. Jessica stared at the screen. The homeless woman on the subway platform, the woman everyone ignored, was the widow of a Medal of Honor recipient. She'd been missing for 33 years, declared dead for 23. And she was still alive. Jessica knew what she had to do, but it had to be done carefully, respectfully. She contacted the Department of Veterans Affairs, explained the situation. They were skeptical. There'd been frauds before, people claiming to be lost relatives of decorated veterans. "We'll need DNA verification," the VA representative said. Jessica approached Sarah carefully the next morning. "Sarah, I need to ask you something important. Would you let a doctor take a small sample? Just a swab from your cheek. It won't hurt. I think I found your family." Sarah's eyes widened. "My family? Your children, Jennifer and Michael. They've been looking for you." Sarah began to shake. No, they're not. They're little. Jennifer is 5. Michael is 3. I need to go home to them. James will be home soon. And I need to." "Sarah," Jessica said gently, taking her hand. "James isn't coming home. I'm so sorry. He died in 1973. It's been 45 years. Sarah stared at her. Then slowly, tears began to fall. "I know," she whispered. "I know he's not coming. I've always known. But if I stop waiting, if I admit he's really gone, then what was it all for?" Jessica held her while she cried. The DNA test was done that afternoon. 2 weeks later, the results came back. 99.9% match. Sarah Miller, missing for 33 years, declared dead for 23, was alive. Jennifer Miller was now 50 years old, a middle school teacher in New Jersey. Married, 3 children of her own. She'd been 5 years old when her mother disappeared. Michael Miller was 48, a firefighter in Boston. 2 children. He'd been 3 years old, had no memory of his mother at all. When the VA called them, Jennifer collapsed. Michael couldn't speak. Their mother, who they'd mourned, who they'd buried emotionally, if not physically, was alive, homeless, broken, but alive. The reunion was arranged carefully. A VA hospital in Manhattan, private room, social workers present. Jessica was there too. Sarah had asked for her. Jennifer and Michael walked in, middle-aged now, gray in their hair, lines on their faces. They'd lived entire lives without their mother. Sarah sat in a chair, cleaned up, wearing donated clothes. She looked at them, saw strangers. Her mind tried to reconcile these adults with the toddlers she remembered. "Jennifer," she whispered, You're so old. You're supposed to be 5. Jennifer couldn't hold back. She crossed the room and knelt in front of her mother, taking her hands. "Mom, I'm 50 now. It's been 45 years. But you're here. You're really here." Sarah looked at her daughter's face, touched it gently. "I left you. I'm sorry. I left you and Michael. I was supposed to take care of you and I..." "Mom, no." Jennifer was crying. "You were sick. You were grieving. Dad died and you broke. And no one helped you. It wasn't your fault." Michael stood back, arms crossed, face unreadable. Sarah looked at him. "You don't remember me." "No," Michael said quietly. "I don't. I was 3. I don't blame you for hating me. Michael's face crumpled. I don't hate you. I mourned you. I thought you were dead. And now you're here. And I don't know. I don't know what to feel. Sarah nodded. I don't know what to feel either. I've been lost for so long. But if you'll let me, I'd like to try to find my way back. Michael moved forward, knelt beside his sister, took his mother's other hand. We'll help you, he said. If you want to come back, we'll help you. The road back wasn't easy. Sarah moved into a VA-supported housing facility, began intensive therapy, PTSD treatment, cognitive therapy for the years of disassociation. The doctors explained Sarah had experienced what's called dissociative fugue, a psychological break so complete that she'd lost her sense of identity. Combined with untreated PTSD from her husband's death, homelessness, and decades of trauma, her mind had essentially frozen in 1973. She was still waiting for James to come home, because, in her mind, he'd only been gone a few months. Slowly, carefully, her therapists helped her process the truth. James was gone. Her children were grown. She'd lost 33 years of her life. But she was still here, and she could still have a future. Jennifer and Michael visited every week, brought their children, Sarah's grandchildren she'd never known existed. There were awkward moments, painful conversations, tears, but also healing. 6 months into treatment, Sarah was stable enough for an outing. Jennifer had a request. Mom, there's somewhere we'd like to take you, if you're ready. Sarah nodded. Where? To see Dad. Arlington National Cemetery. Spring morning. Cherry blossoms in bloom. Sarah walked slowly, supported by her daughter on one side, her son on the other. Her grandchildren followed behind, quiet and reverent. They stopped at a white marble headstone. Captain James Robert Miller, United States Army Medal of Honor, 1944 to 1973. Sarah stared at it, the first time she'd seen his grave since the funeral in 1973. The funeral she barely remembered, lost in a fog of grief. Jennifer placed flowers at the base. Hi, Dad. We brought someone to see you. Sarah knelt, slowly, painfully, touched the stone, traced his name with her fingers. James, she whispered. I waited so long. I'm sorry it took me this long to find my way here. I'm sorry I left our children. I'm sorry I got lost. She pulled off her wedding ring, the ring she'd worn for 45 years, through everything, held it in her palm. Then she slipped it back on. But I'm not sorry I waited. I'd wait another 45 years if I had to. You were worth waiting for. Michael knelt beside his mother, put his arm around her. Dad would be proud of you, Mom. You survived. You're still here. That's what matters. Sarah looked up at her children, her grandchildren, a family she'd lost and somehow, impossibly, found again. I waited for him to come home, she said quietly. I didn't realize I was the one who needed to come home. Jennifer took her hand. You're home now, Mom. We've got you. Sarah nodded, looked back at the headstone, at the words Medal of Honor etched into marble. He saved 40 men, she said. Did you know that? Your father saved 40 lives before he died. We know, Mom, Michael said. And you know what? You're still saving lives. You're still here. You're still fighting. That's valor too. Sarah closed her eyes. For the first time in 45 years, she felt something she thought she'd never feel again. Peace. Sarah Miller continues her recovery at a VA facility in New Jersey. She sees her children and grandchildren weekly. Jessica Chen visits her every month. They still drink coffee together. Captain James Robert Miller's Medal of Honor is now on display at the Miller family home, where Sarah can see it every day. Sarah has begun speaking at Gold Star family events, sharing her story to help others dealing with loss and PTSD. When asked what she wants people to know, Sarah says, "Gold Star families don't just lose someone once. We lose them every day. Be kind to the ones left behind. We're still fighting our own wars." The lesson? True valor isn't just about the battlefield. It's about surviving when the person you love doesn't come home. It's about finding your way back when you've been lost for decades. Sarah Miller waited 45 years for her husband to come home. In the end, she was the one who came home. And that took a different kind of courage.